Hello everyone, good to see all of you and welcome to our midweek service. Today our title for the lesson is the Waldorf principle. You might be thinking, what is the Waldorf principle? Have you ever heard of the Waldorf Astoria hotels? So most of us will probably be quite unfamiliar with it. When I first saw the name Waldorf Astoria Hotel, I was like, what type of hotel is it? But I found out that it is actually a very premium, top of the line hotel. Now, have you heard of the Hilton Hotel? You probably have heard of it. It's a very common hotel all around the world, very famous. The Waldorf Astoria Hotel is part of the Hilton brand. In fact, the Waldorf Hotel is one of the flagship brand of the Hilton worldwide luxury hotels. And in Hilton, the Waldorf hotels offer the highest standard of facilities and service. And do you know an interesting fact? The room service, which we all love, right? 24/7, you can call the room service anytime for anything. That actually started from the Waldorf Hotel. And that's where the Waldorf principle came from. Let me tell you the story of the Waldorf principle, how it came around. Back in the time of the 1880s, there was a small little hotel. And on a very rainy, cloudy day, cold day, an elderly couple came into the hotel, wanting to search for boarding and to shelter themselves from the storm. But because the hotel was small, the whole place was fully booked. So the clerk told the elderly couple, "We cannot accommodate you because it's fully booked." But then, looking at the elderly couple, the clerk made a decision. He decided to not send them out, but instead to offer his suite to the elderly couple. That means that night, the clerk did not have a real room, but instead the elderly couple took his room. Wow, isn't that incredible? What a selfless, sacrificial act. The next morning came around, the couple woke up and checked out from the hotel and saw the clock. And the couple told the clock, "You are the ideal man to manage the best hotel in the whole of America." And guess what? The elderly man said, "I will build one for you someday." Wow, isn't that incredible? So anyway, 2 years have passed and nothing much happened. And one day, this clerk received a letter. And the elderly man was William Waldorf Astor. And guess what? In the letter, the man said, "I have actually built a hotel for you to manage. Come to New York City." And the clerk, George C. Bolt, took the challenge, went to New York City, and began to manage the hotel. And at that time, it was known as the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. It was the most famous hotel back in New York City. And George Bolt, what he did to the hospitality sector with his management of that hotel totally changed the entire scene of hospitality work. So what is the Waldorf principle? The concept is basically just like this man, George Bolt. We need to be selfless, sacrificial, and extravagant in our service. That is the Waldorf principle. But long before George Bolt did that and created the Waldorf principle, Jesus already taught about it. Let's turn our Bible to Matthew chapter 5, verse 41. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Wow. This was taught by Jesus long before the Waldorf principle came around. And then further down, in verse 43, let me read you this. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Isn't that incredible? Waldorf principle. Jesus already taught it. And not only did Jesus taught it, but Jesus himself lived it out. In John chapter 2, verse 9 to 10, this is a situation where Jesus was at a wedding banquet and all the wine was about to be finished. And Jesus' mother came to Jesus and said, Jesus, we need more wine. Now, Jesus was not getting married. It was somebody else. I don't know why the mother decided to ask Jesus to create more wine. And then later on, Jesus went to the kitchen and turned the water into wine. And in verse 9, let me read you something super interesting. And the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servant who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now. And so here we find Jesus himself did not just teach the Waldorf principle, he lived it out. You know, Jesus created the best wine where the master of the banquet was so amazed and he said, everybody else gives the choice wine in the beginning, but you even have the best of the best at the very end. And you can see Jesus performed the Waldorf principle. Jesus was one who always go the second mile. Jesus was one who always loved his enemies. Jesus was always selfless, sacrificial, and extravagant in the way he served. Brothers and sisters, we too need to imitate Jesus, to be selfless, sacrificial, and extravagant in the way we care, we love, and we serve the people around us. There are 3 very important words here. Selfless. Number 1. What does that mean? It means we what? We are more concerned about the needs of the people around us and the wishes of the people around us more than our own. And isn't that how Jesus displayed himself? Sacrificial. That is the idea of what? Giving up something for somebody else. And we know Jesus himself was the ultimate sacrifice. He gave not only just good wine, at the very end of his life, he gave up his life for all of us so that we can be saved. And extravagant, that's the third word. Extravagant means more expensive than it is necessary or reasonable, beyond any reasonable expectation. Waldorf principle, where we learn to serve, care, and love the people around us with a selfless heart, sacrificial heart, extravagant heart. I like this quote. He told George, make the Waldorf so comfortable, they will never go to another place. In other words, the guests don't want to go to another place because the Waldorf Astoria Hotel is just so amazing. And that's what he did. That's why the Waldorf Hotel is top of the line, premium. And in the same way, we too need to imitate that quote. Make our care for others so wonderful that people will be drawn to Jesus. Is that how your love, your care, your concern for the people around you, that your love for them, your care for them is so wonderful, and when they look at your life, they say, I see Jesus in you, and they are drawn to Christ because of your wonderful love for them. So, what could be some hindrances or challenges that might hold you back from having the Waldorf principle, where you learn to care, give, and serve selflessly, sacrificially, and extravagantly to other people? I think of 5. Number 1, trust issue. Some of us, we are afraid to be taken advantage of. We see the world, many people take advantage of people around them. And we are afraid. Maybe we ourselves have been taken advantage of in our own life. So we are afraid if we care so much, maybe the other person might take advantage of our good nature and good heart. And so we hold back from giving. Issue number 2, insecurity. Could it be you look at your own self, your own life, and you wonder, can I really do a good job in caring for the people around me? Can I really be so selfless and sacrificial? And you worry. You are afraid that you will not be able to care for people, and so you hold back from giving your entire heart to serve, to care for the people around you. Third reason, shyness. Some of us grow up very shy. We are afraid to express ourselves, to say what we feel in our heart. We are afraid that we do not know what to do, so we just keep to ourselves. And so, because we keep to ourselves, Jesus' love cannot shine out of us. We need to decide to break out from the shell, come out and serve and care and have the Waldorf principle that Jesus taught, to go the extra mile and not let that shell of shyness hold us back. Number 4, could it be boundary? Where boundary issues, where you feel like, this is my boundary. This is it. I'm not going to do more than that. This is how much I will care. I'm not going to cross this line. And you're only willing to give a small portion of your love to the people around you. We need to learn to imitate Jesus. Jesus did not have boundary. Now, that does not mean that Jesus did not take care of himself. He took care of himself. He made sure he replenished his heart, where he prayed to God, and he had people in his life to love him and to care for his needs. But once his heart is replenished, he opened wide his heart to give all his love, all his care, and all his concern with the people around him. And number 5, pride issue. Could it be where you look at yourself and you think, why should I love so much? What am I going to gain? If I care for people, will they really care for me? Will God, pour money from heaven and take care of my life? And you have pride issue and you start to doubt God. We need to learn to be humble. Trust God. Be humble to serve the people around us. Let me give you some practicals. 3 quick practicals. Number 1, make a decision today. Not tomorrow, today. To have your hotel, that means your life, your care and your concern, to be so wonderful that others will be drawn closer to Christ. Number 2, imitate Christ. Sometimes we wonder, how do I serve? How do I go about loving? and caring with that Waldorf principle, the love that is selfless, sacrificial, and extravagant? Well, it's right here in the Bible. Jesus, as you read, watch how Jesus served, how Jesus gave his heart, and learn to imitate him and the apostles and the Christians in the first century. And finally, every day when you wake up, as you pray, ask yourself this question: how can I offer this gift, this type of love, a Waldorf principle of selfless, sacrificial, extravagant care to the people around me? So, brothers, sisters, friends, I'm sure we can apply the Waldorf principle because we have the Holy Spirit in us. I have enclosed down here some further studies, for some readings from the book of Philippians and some questions that we can ask ourselves and discuss with our group. So, let's go out there. Offer ourselves just like Christ, that Waldorf principle of selfless, sacrificial, extravagant love for the people around us. Thank you very much. See you again. Bye.